This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there, live.
Wrestling fans, welcome to another installment of Boston Wrestling Sports. Wrestling Inside is the podcast where we discuss the latest news, history, and memories on the greatest form of action and excitement across all forms of sports and entertainment when it's done right. I'm Dan Marotti, joined by
Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
Tony. We talked so much yesterday, we said, you know what, we're going to give the fans a treat. We're going to turn it into a couple of different episodes and they have some fun. Before we get down to the business at hand, again, we want to mention that you are available for a wide variety of services, even during the coronavirus time. You're available for private autograph signings. You're still willing to travel for personal appearances, birthday parties, even at a social distance. Commissioned artwork. People on eBay have been getting drawings of their family. You just did a nice Bruiser Brody drawing. You'll make personal phone calls. Forget about Cameo, where people get a 30-second video. Tony will give you a personal phone call that'll have you smiling and laughing for days. Tony's been crushed by the pandemic up in Lewiston, Auburn, Maine. His world of professional wrestling has collapsed, obviously, as well as his job as a personal trainer. So we want Tony working. We want to try and keep all the legends working. So please support these shows we're doing. And again, Tony, I want to send a shout out to our friend Lio Rush, the former WWE Cruiserweight champion. He was just released by WWE a few weeks ago. But this week, his first album was released. He's looking to music now. It's called Ever After, and you can download it at musicbyleo.com. Tony, when I come to visit you up in Maine, I want to play some of this music for you, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Leo's done a hell of a job for a young guy. I think he's only 25. He's doing what he's doing outside of the world of professional wrestling to keep the green flowing into the bank. I have a lot of respect for him and his creativity.
That sounds wonderful.
All right, Tony. This is one thing I don't think you and I have ever even spoken about before we get into the main topic of the discussion. But are you a fan of UFC?
Never seen it.
All right, well, that answers that question then. Well, the reason I bring that up is, much like WWE, they had their first return event this weekend in front of in an empty arena, similar to what WWE has done. I didn't see it either. I'm at best a casual MMA fan. But the reason I asked that leading into it, Tony, the fans wanted to know what you thought of Ronda Rousey's recent comment. She did an interview during the pandemic, and if you will, Tony, I'd like to read you the quote that she said.
Okay.
Ronda Rousey, as fans may know, she was the WWE Raw Women's Champion, made a boatload of money in a short period of time, and this is what she said recently, quote unquote, "I love the WWE. I had such a good time. I love all the girls in the locker room. Running out there and having fake fights for fun is just the best thing. I love choreography. I love acting. I love theater, live theater, and some of the last forms of live theater. But I was doing basically part-time, and I was away from home 200 days a year. And when I did get home, I was so sleep-deprived because you just don't have any time to lay down. So it's just like, what am I doing it for if I'm not able to spend any time and energy on my family? But instead, spending my time and energy on a bunch of fucking ungrateful fans that don't even appreciate me. I love performing. I love the girls. I love being out there. But at the end of the day, I was like, fuck these fans, dude. My family loves me and they appreciate me, and I want all of my energy to go into them. So that was my decision at the end of the day. It's like, hey, girls, love what you're doing. I'm going to try and take all my momentum and push you guys as far as I can. Fly, little birds, fly. I'm going fucking home. And that was basically it. Now, Tony, that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. WWE talents Alexa Bliss and Lana responded in Twitter with anger. But to me, the comment lacks credibility. But I want your reaction to Ronda Rousey coming in, making well over 7 figures for what is very part-time work, despite her claims of 200 days on the road.
With that, what a lot of people don't realize, everybody want to be a wrestler. Mm-hmm. But they don't realize the work that go into it. Mm-hmm. Ronda Rousey, for the first time in her life, she had to work for a living. She got by on her talent for years, and she was pampered. That sounds like a spoiled kid.
Well,
It don't sound like a full grown woman. It sounds like a spoiled kid.
Granted, she did train to be in the Olympics, so it's not like she hasn't put her time in training.
You talking about people.
All right.
That sometimes travel and save money to come and to see her. Mm-hmm. She's taking their money and pocketing it, and then badmouth them. It's kind of like, Dan, I said, Dan, I'm broke. Can you do me a favor? Tony, I don't want to be broke. I'm going to send you a couple of $100. Don't worry about paying me back. And then I said, oh, that fucking dad is an asshole. He just and that. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. See, my mother took that. You have to have in this world appreciation. Not only she's bad-mouthing the wrestling fan, bad-mouthing the company, bad-mouthing the business. There's only a small handful of Americans. Mm-hmm. There's a slap in the face for every working class American person in the world. You know, we love to have a job that will pay them type of money. You got truck drivers that's up and down the road all day long away from their family, not complaining about the people they serve. You got military soldiers that is in Iraq and Afghanistan, all over the world, they're protecting our country that is not complaining about being away from their family. You have policemen, you have farmers, you have a lot of people that do not have the luxury of being home. Right. I mean, how many people are going to make the big money, get famous, have their ass kissed, make big money, and being away from home? And she's talking about being away from home that long. That girl don't know what being away from home is. I mean, she only worked 4 days, 3 days a week.
Well, you know what, Tony? That's part of what got me.
We're talking 3 fucking days a week. The fans don't know that. Ronda Rousey didn't put that part in. I was with my family 3 days a week.
She wasn't even on.
What in the hell? You know, I had a lot of respect for her, but you see, she raised up in that environment that feel entitlement.
Right.
She's not entitled to anything. A lot of girls lay down their career to make her money, to make other people money, and the fans gonna be really disappointed. All the merchandise. Look at the little girl that bought a Ronda Rousey a shirt. When you say fucking fan, you talk about the kids too, right? Now, who's going to say fuck you to a kid? She just done that. All the fans are not grown up, Ms. Rousey.
Well,
I know a lot of young kids that is fans.
You're right.
And in the world of women wrestlers, Vince McMahon just now, a lot of people don't like it, just now giving women a break. If she had came along in the 70s, she didn't have to worry about that shit. She's been on the road 7 days a week.
Yep.
We didn't even see. We had to save for our families.
And wouldn't be making millions of dollars a year for very part-time work.
You're lucky if you made 75 that year. You was away for. I remember Rufus used to have his family fly to Charlotte during the summer when the kids was out of school, because you were from Missouri, mm-hmm. Kansas City area. I don't know if it was Kansas City, or Kansas City, Missouri. Oh, I knew he was from Kansas City. But I remember in the 70s, his family used to come up to visit. That's how I got in trouble with Vince. I had to miss a show to go see my family.
Right.
I mean, we worked 7 days a week. And the only time we had off, you asked Ric Flair, the only time we had time off was 10 days before Christmas.
I think
that girl, she's a spoil. She needs to grow up. That's all I got to say.
To the statement you just made, Tony, part of what I think is fake is her recollection on her career in WWE. If at best, she would be brought in for the Monday Night Raw taping every week. She did a handful of house shows during her entire run. So for her to say she was on the road 200 years, maybe she needs to adjust her math a little bit and learn how to count.
Stop lying.
And maybe, you know what, Tony, in her defense, maybe she thinks it's so fake because, you know what, unlike every other professional in the locker room, the weeks leading into Ronda Rousey's WWE pay-per-view matches, she'd get a week in a hotel with a ring so she could have a rehearsal with her opponent every day, so she could rehearse the match move by move by move, which, as you know and most fans would know, that's not how the industry operates.
And we know in real life, Mile Jack would stop a mud hole in her. We know that.
Well, I don't know about that, but
I do. Brother, trust me. Yeah. Yeah.
I disagree with you on that.
I mean, Mile Jack with a straw her, brother. Trust me.
All right.
I know Samoan people. Brother, these big Samoan women, brother, they powerful as all outdoors. And I'll tell you, somebody else would give her a run for her money too.
Cool.
It's Jimmy Slipper daughter.
To me,
trust me on the brother. I know combat. Rousey is not that tough. See, most of the people that Rousey fight. See, a lot of people in the wrestling business would do real good in the other business. Like Harley Race would have done real good. You know,
Harley Race would have been good.
Yeah. I knew a lot of guys. Like Kurt Angle could do good in that. I know a lot of guys. Randy Savage would have done real good in that. I knew a lot of guys that was real. And when you take somebody like Maya Jack, she was never really pushed to her full potential. See, she's kind of like a Mark Henry. I don't care what you know. The guys like that, you can't handle them type people. Trust me on this stuff. What in the hell is she going to do with that 300-pound woman?
Well,
that is our job. You understand?
I guess we'd have to see it in the ring. I don't know.
She would hurt Rousey a lot more than Rousey would hurt her. Trust me on that one.
Well,
if Vince would let him shoot, I would put my money on Maya Jack over any day of the week. Brother.
I have to say, as much as I dislike the situation now, I would go with Ronda, but you know what? Maybe you'd win the money.
Brother, how you going to get a woman with 35-inch thighs down? How?
She was an Olympian, Tony.
I don't care. They didn't have Maya Jack in the Olympics.
All right, well, maybe you're right. I could be wrong.
I mean, Sweet Handsome used to beat up some of them Olympians. Come on now.
Maybe you're right. All
right. I know a lot of guys went to the Olympics, but when it came down to the dressing room, you know, they get thrown all over the place.
What is your reaction, Tony, to a woman that came into the industry, made millions of dollars in a very short period of time, never really paid any kind of dues, was trained very minimally, again, was given dress rehearsals, unlike every other talent on the WWE roster? To use the word fake, I know sometimes that brings out fighting words out of the old-timers. Some just shrug their shoulders. Do you think that's a sign of disrespect, her calling the industry and what is done fake?
Of course it is. Yeah. I mean, because there's no other way of looking at it. Stop it, but of course it is. And I had so much respect for her. I thought it was good to have somebody with legitimacy, you know, to represent the business like that. But you don't do stuff like that. You know, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. See, if she had stayed out of it, somebody else could have got that break.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, wrestling had never been fake. Never. You can't fake a fall. And a lot of the chops and things, as you know, are for real. We know this because you promote the show yourself. And the injuries are for real. Wrestlers work harder than any sport in the world. There's no sport in the world that demands so much of the human body than pro wrestling. If I was going to use a word for wrestling, it would not be fake. It would be stage.
Maybe if Ronda actually broke into the business the traditional way, maybe she would have had more respect for it. Is that a good way to put it?
Well, they would have stretched her, brother. Trust me. I was a champion, too, in wrestling. I knew a lot of amateur wrestlers. Don Canuta. I'll tell you another Olympian, too, that people don't talk about it. And that was, what was the Italian guy named Dominic DiNucci.
Well, there you go.
See, you know, the Sheik was Olympia. Kim Patera was Olympia. Mark Henry's an Olympia. Kurt Angle's an Olympia. We had a lot of Olympians before. But what they would do, they would let them earn their spot.
Right.
This was given to her. That's why parents don't give your kids everything they ask for, because at the end of the day, they all become Ronda Rousey, disrespectful and unappreciated.
For someone to make that much money working one day a week, I find that to be kind of demeaning to the industry. Never mind the industry, but what about...
What example? And she don't love her kids as much as she think they do. Because what example are she setting for her kid using foul language, making big money, and crapping on the people that gave her the money? What example is she setting for her children?
That's an interesting question.
You want her kids to grow up with that type of personality?
Yeah, I didn't really think of it from that point of view,
She
Tony.
got
You're
kids
right.
too. She got kids too. Now, what about when the kids go to school and all the little school kids tell them what their mom said?
I don't know if they saw the interview, but
See,
know what?
Kids
You're right.
look at us. Kids look at us. So she teaches her kids to be unappreciated of a break in life. Taking a high spot away from girls that want it, that fought, that struggled for it. She just walked right in the door, grab all the money, and then badmouth it. That's not a good example to set for her kids or any other kid. See, that's why it's so hard for these kids. That's why they bring back all these old movies like Batman, Superman, because it's hard to find a role model for kids anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Does she consider herself a role model now?
I never asked her. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you read them statements, and some mother read them statements, you think they want their child to, you think you want your daughter to be like that?
My impression would be she really doesn't care, but that's just my impression.
But that's a great image for her to give to her kids.
All right, well, you heard it from the Hall of Famer, but Tony, as I continue, maybe...
She better teach her kids to fight.
Yeah.
She better teach her kids to fight because if they have her attitude, they're going to need to know how to fight.
Tony, let me ask you this. Do you think that maybe she felt it was a fake industry because she came into the business as a big-time star, but in the end of the day, when she left, there was not one uptick in any aspect of the business overall. TV ratings didn't increase because of her. WWE Network subscriptions didn't increase because of her. Live attendance didn't increase because of her. And merchandise didn't increase because of her. Do you think maybe she felt a little...
The only thing that I could say to that,
yeah,
just from how my mother raised me.
Yeah. What's that, Tony?
It called being unappreciated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think that maybe she had a little pie in her face, that she didn't change the business one iota in the entire time she was there?
I mean, she didn't mean nothing to nobody. Nobody missed her when she left, did they?
No.
They can give a red ass about her being there or not being there.
Well,
Who think they care? The people, the fans don't care. But to insult the fans like that, the fans loved her. They bought her merchandise, and they every penny she put in the pocket. Where do you think that money come from?
Yeah.
The fans. So you can badmouth the business, but don't badmouth hard-working people that comes out and spend their last bit, the little bit of money saved to watch you, knowing that you feel that way about them. How do you think thousands of fans, not only in America, all over the world? I mean, WWE got wrestling fans in Germany, in England, and she just crap on it. A lot of people.
Well, maybe if she ever comes back, she'll make for a good heel. But Tony, let me.
I would never bring her back. Vince, I would do her the same way Vince did me.
All right. Well, let me run one more train of thought by you, Tony. Maybe if she felt it was so fake, because again, she was part of this big women's revolution. And at the same time, you have hundreds of thousands of fans turning out of WWE every month. She was put into the first female main event in WrestleMania history. The fans largely sat there on their hands outside of a few big spots, and they left disappointed as they exited the venue that night. As Ronda did her one job of her entire tenure when she lost to Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch now isn't over a fraction of what she was as 2018 came to an end, and we're here in 2020. So Ronda certainly didn't do anything to get anyone over other than herself. You think maybe that's why she felt it was fake, that nobody cared in the end?
I'm going back to what I said before. Right. What example is she setting for her children? Well, what she should be asking herself.
All right, and Tony, we're going to wrap this one up. We have so much more great content to talk about this week. But one final question about her, Tony. Would you let Ronda Rousey walk on you?
Nah.
Why?
Nah.
I want to know why. Why won't you let Ronda walk on you?
Because she will not appreciate it.
So in order for you to let a woman walk on you, they have to appreciate it.
Brother.
Really?
You ever see a person with that type of personality? I don't want nothing to do with it any kind of way.
No walking.
No, nothing.
All right, well.
I don't even want to sit and eat dinner with her. No, see, there's certain, you got me into this. There are certain forces in the earth.
Mm-hmm.
You got positive energy, you got negative energy.
Mm-hmm.
When some people get to the top and then they look back and try to help others.
Mm-hmm.
Other people get to the top and then they try to destroy all the positiveness about them and they turn into a negative. She made history. She always gonna go down in the wrestling book and be the first female main eventer, like me and Rocket.
Yeah.
She don't realize what she did until she's not gonna be young forever.
No, definitely not.
Nobody gonna be young forever. When she gets 50, 60 years old, she's gonna look back on what she could have been. See? Because pretty much it's over for her. Yeah, she's gonna spend a lot of time with her family, more time than what she would like to in the future. Because stuff like this don't only affect the wrestling business. Let's say some guy that want to make a movie with her.
Yeah.
Well, he's gonna see that thing. He said, "Wait a minute, she could do us the same way." Another woman did the same thing to themselves. Was Missy Hyatt.
What did Missy Hyatt do, Tony?
You remember Missy Hyatt sued the WWE for sexual harassment?
WCW.
WCW, yeah, but then nobody else wanted it. Nobody wanted to touch her. Vince didn't want to touch her with a 10-foot pole.
But they did hang a large poster of her breasts in the corporate headquarters.
Yeah, but she showed them all to everybody anyway.
Well, she would have been better off letting the poster stay up.
How did they get her breast picture? You ever thought of that, Paul?
It was a still shot from a live event when it popped out. I think it was Fall Brawl 93.
Yeah, but she would flash her. I see her tits many times.
Did you enjoy them?
No, they were fake.
Would you let Missy Hyatt walk on you?
I did.
Oh, Missy Hyatt walked on you, really?
Yeah, I got a picture of it. What do you mean, what? I did.
When was this?
I got that.
When was this?
I was with Scott Epstein. It was after we both was not with no big corporation. I was in mid-90s. I got the picture.
And
Scott Epstein took the picture.
How was she as a walker?
She was more towards the camera than the walking. Yeah. I mean, she just the big smile. When you see the picture, you tell she was just, to her it was a great photo op. I mean, it got her attention at the event. Because everybody you saw it. People leave other tables and come to that table. It's a good draw. So it drew people to her table.
People have no idea what they're in for when they see you at a convention with a woman walking on your face and chest. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Would you let her do it again?
Picture on their cell phone.
Would you let her do it again?
I don't think she could stand up ain't no more about falling.
Why is that?
I don't know what kind of condition she in.
She might be in rough shape.
You asked me why I let a senior citizen walk on the only senior now.
Well, Tony, I informed Missy. I don't know.
Hell, I'm going to get some tennis shoes and go out to the old folks' home.
Well,
I'm about to see a senior citizen now. How old would Missy be now?
I wouldn't think she's 60.
I don't know.
Maybe I'd say she's probably closer to 60 than 50, but I don't think she's quite 60.
Yeah, because you got to realize she was there in the 90s. This is 2020.
No, she broke in the 80s, yeah.
Yeah, the 80s. You see what I'm saying, brother? Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to do a Missy Hyatt
35, almost 40 years ago. Because The Rock is in his 40s now.
She's 50,
she was
56.
The Rock.
56.
Yeah, she was before The Rock.
She was before The Rock. You're right.
Yeah.
She's 56.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. You don't want old feet on you. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, because it's a liability.
It's a liability. All right. Well, I didn't quite think of it.
Grandma slipped. I'm in trouble.
Tony, I tell you, these episodes, we have a lot of fun. We're going to, as we tape multiple episodes in one day, you and I are going to try and pump out one more. We're going to wrap this one up, Tony. Again, we want to let the fans know you're available for all that great artwork. You're available for autographs. You're available for personal appearances, even during a pandemic, a birthday party, holiday parties, drawings, anything you can think of. Even though I know you've been having a lot of fun on the phone doing the personal phone calls, Tony. You can even chat with the Hall of Famer.
That's right. We got to do something during this academic. My belief is, and I told Dan many a time, we all know what the problem is. We all have to find a solution to get us through it. So if laughing, if Boston Wrestling, if drawing, or whatever it takes to keep us happy, keep our spirit up while we get through this, that's a solution to getting us through the problem that we're going through right now.
Well, you're a wise man. And Tony, if the fans maybe missed it earlier in the week, a little later on, you and I are going to produce a new show. It's going to have nothing to do with professional wrestling. It's going to be Tony Atlas's outlook on the world and current events, which I think could either be very interesting, a train wreck, or somewhere in between. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I also want to tell the fan that a lot of people don't know this about my love affair with a baboon.
Well, you've dropped that joke a few dozen times, but that's all right, Tony. All right. For the Hall of Famer, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas, I'm Dan Marotti. Continue to follow us across social media. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back a little later in the week with another brand new Wrestling Insiders podcast. Be well.